Stranglers in the night, scoo-dooby-dooer, wringing necks so tight, they're turning bluer. Oh, hi there, boils and ghouls. I'm just writing my next album. It's called Songs to Die For. There you go, kitty. See you later.
Tales from the Crypt was a magical thing to me.
We did not expect it to be that big of a hit. I don't think anybody did. We knew there was something special.
With 93 episodes, they're all pretty strong, and we based them on the comic books.
As opposed to making them like dumb exploitation stories, they were really smart exploitation stories.
Tales from the Crypt for me was like making a half-an-hour mini-movie. It was a special thing for me. I've been a character actor now for 22 years, and I still think the Crypt Keeper probably is the most famous character that I've done. Joel Silver, Bob Zemeckis, Walter Hill, and Dick Donner as my executive producers. That was great. I used to go home at night and dream I was flying, and they always say that's a sense of things going well in your life.
Tales from the Crypt. Right now, it's time to introduce Season 2 of Tales from the Crypt. Before we did Season 2, I told my staff I wanted 18 shows so scary, so horrifying, so disgusting, they'd make your flesh crawl. And we did it. In fact, it was a spooktacular second season. Now that's what I call an undertaking. But if you only watch one episode on the whole DVD, what a silly idea, but if you did, the one I'd pick is Lower Birth, the heartwarming story of a boy and his mummy.
They cast my brother. He wore this, two-faced man. He had a whole animatronic face on the side of his own face and had makeup over that. It was a big, heavy thing. He had a hump on his back. He had to walk with a limp.
It has an ending that will always bring tears to my eyes, because it shows how your old friend the Crypt Keeper, yes moi, was born to a two-headed carnival freak and a 4,000-year-old Egyptian mummy.
It was about the birth of the Crypt Keeper. It was also took place in 1910, so it was in a carnival, so I love those kind of atmospheres.
Lower Birth and his backstory was really fun to do, and that became a real signature show.
Guess you figured out by now where I get my good looks. Old Two-Face was my daddy, and the mummy was my mommy.
It was just exciting that we were able to create this whole world out of these very secret, special, magical comic books.
When I was a kid, I used to collect the Tales from the Crypt comic books. My mom used to take them away from me and hide them. She thought that they were, gross and creepy and was messing up my mind. So when I was asked to audition for Tales from the Crypt, I was like, oh my God, this is unbelievable. But I thought it was just going to be a cult classic for freaks like me.
If you read the stories in the comic book and then you see our versions of the stories, they're very true to them.
We loved the original material. Yeah, and when Joel and Dick and Bob and Walter and David, they had a notion, they had a vision that the comic books themselves, the individual comics, were really great material to be faithful to.
We were trying to emulate the comic book style, the close-ups on the one eye in the foreground and the background, woman's kissing some other man when there's a close-up on somebody. And of course, it wound up having the partners involved and getting tremendous directors and actors involved, so it really brought the comic books to life.
So you go into the comic books, you read all those, and all of a sudden you find Tales from the Crypt. I mean, that was something that was unique. It was a tasty morsel that you found, and you'd kind of, savor it.
Now here is a story you can sink your teeth into.
Tales from the Crypt fits into our pop culture so extensively. I mean, first of all, there's a whole group of directors that worked on this show that had made their mark in Hollywood over the last 30 years.
We began talking to directors at the time who we thought might want to get involved with us in this kind of piece of material.
And just to see their work alone in Tales from the Crypt is an amazing thing.
Not just about making the widget, but making the unique, strange, idiosyncratic episode, and that each person, each director bringing a different sensibility to it, they each had a different flavor.
I remember at one point I sat down with Marty Scorsese years ago, and I said, do you want to do this? And he remembered one. He said, I remember one. And he had a story in his head that he had not picked the magazine up in 30 years, 40 years, and he still had one in his head that he said, this is my favorite one, and he told us a story. And it was one that we eventually did.
What made it, I think, attractive to HBO was they were getting access to the absolutely top level of feature film talent, clearly on the level of producing and directing, but also on the level of cinematographers, directors, actors, and all, composers, editors. We had all kinds of people who wanted to do it because it was fun.
This is the secret. And Bob Zemeckis, all these directors want to do horror, but they're either stuck in a different genre. Steven Spielberg, everybody wants to do a little horror, but they don't want to get pigeonholed into that. So the Tales from the Crypt was a great thing for directors to come on to.
They weren't really like slasher shows because there was always that element of, nudge, nudge, wink, wink, the Crypt Keeper, hello, kiddies, that whole thing.
Good evening, kiddies. I just had quite a scare. I actually thought my heart was beating again.
I was working with Walter Hill. We had done 48 Hours together. He was also telling me how much he loved Tales from the Crypt. And I think when Alien came out, because Walter produced that movie, I think we were discussing at one point that chestburster scene, which was probably the most riveting image from Alien. And I think Walter said that had come from a Tales from the Crypt comic book. We wanted to be like little movies. But when we did Tales from the Crypt, it was like a kind of a first. And, it was a very exciting time because everybody wanted to do episodes.
Sheesh, the things some folks will do to get ahead in show business.
One of the things that became a signature element of the show, which was Bob had a great instinct and insight, that to do a puppet rather than a guy wearing a makeup was hugely important. Bob was completely right because the puppet gives you a unique character and it's not like anything else.
I wanted to make sure that the Crypt Keeper could speak, but I wanted that look of rot, his mouth, and I remember what Bob Zemeckis had always told me about the breath, so I was making it look like he didn't want to go anywhere near this corpse's mouth. In season 2, we went back in and pumped his lips up a little bit because we needed to see those pronounce, the vowels and things like that. I mean, the guy is dead, so he can't have too much flesh on his face.
I've just been sitting here waiting for my blood pack to harden. My cosmetologist said I was starting to look a little lifeless. Much better, eh?
There's 3 characters, the Witch, the Vault Keeper, and the Crypt Keeper from the original comic book, and they all had different looks. And I kind of borrowed from them as well because we wanted to stay true to the EC comic, style.
Oh, hi there, fright fiends. How do you like my rancid rendering? Not bad for an amateur.
They used to call me on Tales from the Crypt the Attitude Man because in the puppet I could change and do double takes as opposed to maybe working just the mouth. Because we'd have like 6 puppeteers sitting around in front of the Crypt Keeper working different functions like the eye blinks and the mouth synchronization and hands and me and the body and the head.
27 servo motors inside of his head, and they're little hobbyist motors, and they burn out all the time. So that 2 or 3 weeks, if one's pulling a smile and it's really taking a lot, it'll begin to smoke or burn out, and so we have to constantly replace those.
So it was quite interesting, all of us getting together to make this one character.
When I first came to audition for Tales from the Crypt, they had just asked a few actor, voiceover, comedian type guys to come in and audition for it. And they gave the task to Kevin Yeager, who was already creating the puppet in his studio.
So part of that process was, listen, why don't you oversee auditions for the Crypt Keeper, which I was thrilled to do. We auditioned probably about maybe 8 to 10 guys. And one of the guys that came in was John Kassir.
Which I thought it was just going to be really cool to go to Kevin Yeager's studio and see what he was doing. And when I walked in, there were all these different versions of the Crypt Keeper they were working on, but they had pretty much narrowed it down. And I was like, oh, this is great. This is what he looks like. And he gave me a few pieces of copy, and he told me, go for it with whatever you got. And so I started thinking, okay, he's your host, so he's kind of got the Alfred Hitchcock thing going, and he's gotten all these rotting teeth and holes in his throat and falling flesh. And he was saying all these stupid things like, be careful what you ask for, you may get it. As soon as I did the voice and the cackling laugh and everything, Kevin was like, that's great, that's what I'm thinking about.
It's me!
He had this high-pitched whine. He was squeezing his voice box, to get it to crack. And then he just burst out into this, this laugh that blew me away. It was just like, oh my God, that's it. This was the guy that I wanted to take to Joel. So I took in his tape, popped John's tape in it, and I remember Joel's face. We were sitting at his console, almost on the floor, and he was looking over at me and shaking his head.
So the very next day, he brought me down to the studio, I was shaking. Here it was, Tales from the Crypt, one of my favorite comic books ever, being brought to life, and there was Joel Silver and Dick Donner sitting there in the office going, okay, kid, do it for us. As soon as they said turn it on, then I'm in my element.
When we hired this fellow John Kassir, who actually was the voice of the Crypt Keeper, we worked hard to get that voice and get that fun in his. No one's ever heard the Crypt Keeper before. You just saw him saying, hey, kiddies. We wanted it to feel like that.
Kassir was just an inspired choice. He just got it. He instantaneously was that character. All I know is I can remember hearing that cackling laugh through the phone and just thinking, wow, that's amazing.
I'm really happy with the voice of the Crypt Keeper and the way he looked and the way he acted. I think it went to a great length to kind of make the show work and make the audience accept it.
The thing between Kassir's voice and what Kevin and his puppeteers accomplished with the actual puppet, it really had, right off the bat, a total personality. It was a character.
But enough about me. Well, actually, there's never enough about me. I could go on and on. But creeps, we really need to get back to our fiendish festival of eeriness and gore and season 2. Besides, it's time for my dinner break. Here, kitty, 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 kitty. Come to the nice Crypt Keeper. Here, kitty, 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 kitty. Humpty Dumpty sat on the wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall, poor Humpty. All the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't put Humpty back together again, even if they wanted to. Poor Humpty Dumpty, he's all cracked up. He has yolk on his face. Humpty fell to pieces.